because what I'm about to reveal isn't something you'll find in textbooks or casual conversations. It's raw human psychology. It's the science of desire, body language, and the hidden signals a woman's body sends when her needs go beyond words. There comes a moment when a woman's body hungers. Not for food, not for comfort, but for intimacy, connection, passion, and when that switch flips, 4 powerful signs begin to emerge, signs most men never notice, but if you do, you'll understand her on a level few ever will. There's a moment subtle, almost invisible to the untrained eye, when everything about a woman shifts without a single word leaving her lips. Her entire energy changes. You feel it before you see it. It's not something she plans. It's not something she announces. It happens deep inside her body and triggered by powerful hormonal surges and emotional responses she can't consciously control. When a woman's body hungers for intimacy, nature speaks first, and it speaks through her vibe. Suddenly, her presence feels different. Lighter yet magnetic, soft yet intoxicating. You notice her movements carry a fluidity. Her smile lingers just a fraction longer, and there's an undeniable sense that she's more alive. It's as if the air around her thickens with unspoken electricity, and even without her saying a word, you know something within her has awakened. Science explains this in fascinating ways. When desire rises, her brain releases a wave of chemicals, dopamine, norepinephrine, and oxytocin, each creating subtle but powerful changes in her behavior. Dopamine floods her system, giving her energy, making her appear more vibrant and engaged. Norepinephrine sharpens her focus, causing her to lock in on the person or environment she's drawn to, while oxytocin makes her more open, warm, and emotionally receptive. This isn't a performance. This isn't manipulation. This is biology in motion. A primal system designed to enhance connection, chemistry, and closeness. Without realizing it, she leans a little closer when you talk. Her laughter flows more easily, and there's a softness in her voice that wasn't there before. She's not acting different. Her body is naturally guiding her closer to what it desires. If you're tuned in, these shifts are impossible to miss, but only if you know how to look beyond words and see the energy beneath them. And here's where most people get it wrong. They listen to what a woman says, but they fail to observe how she shows up. You see, her words might tell one story, polite, casual, or distant, but her energy reveals the truth her mind hasn't verbalized yet. Her body is honest in ways her language isn't. When intimacy starts to occupy her thoughts, her entire nervous system lights up, and her subconscious begins sending signals before she's even aware of them. Her pupils dilate when you make eye contact, her breathing subtly shifts, and her gestures become slower, more intentional. She mirrors your movements without realizing it. Leaning when you lean, pausing when you pause. That's her mirror neurons firing, reflecting an unconscious desire to synchronize with you. These aren't random coincidences. This is the unspoken choreography of attraction, rooted in human psychology and evolution. Every glance, every micro-expression, every shift in her vibe, it's a language far older than words themselves. If you've ever been in a room and suddenly felt like someone's energy drew you in, before they even looked your way, you've experienced this phenomenon firsthand. It's not magic, but it feels like it. When a woman's body begins craving intimacy, her entire presence transforms into a subtle invitation. The space between you holds a tension that wasn't there before, a current you can't see but absolutely feel. That's why some interactions feel electric, without either of you saying anything significant. Your subconscious mind is processing her signals. The way she angles her body toward you, the faint shift in her posture, the softness in her expression, and translating them into one undeniable message. Pay attention. Something's happening here. But here's the key. Most people miss it. They're too distracted, too focused on rehearsed lines, too busy overthinking. And when you miss that shift, you miss the moment her body first whispers what her heart hasn't yet confessed. There's something fascinating about the way the human body speaks when the mind stays silent. Long before a woman chooses her words, her touch betrays her desires. It begins subtly, almost invisibly, with tiny, unplanned movements that even she isn't aware of. When her body starts craving intimacy, there's a natural shift in how she interacts with her own space, her own skin, and the energy around her. You'll notice the little gestures first. The way she tucks her hair behind her ear, even when it doesn't need fixing, the soft brushing of her fingers along her neck, the absent-minded way she plays with her jewelry, or the lingering touch along her collarbone. These are not random habits. These are micro-signals, ancient, subconscious forms of communication deeply rooted in human psychology and evolutionary biology. It's the body speaking in a language older than words, revealing a hunger the conscious mind hasn't yet verbalized. Science has long shown that when attraction intensifies, the body reacts chemically. Her skin becomes more sensitive to sensation, a result of heightened levels of estrogen and dopamine circulating in her system. These hormones sharpen her awareness of her own body and make her more receptive to physical contact. Even the softest brush of fabric or the lightest touch of air. That's why you'll often see her adjusting her clothes more than usual, pulling down a sleeve, smoothing out a dress, grazing fingertips along her thighs without realizing it. On the surface, it looks innocent. Underneath, it's her nervous system responding to a surge of sensation and preparing her body for closeness. Her gestures, her movements, the unconscious way she interacts with herself, it all stems from an instinctive biological drive. And yet, most people overlook it completely because they don't understand how powerfully human behavior is wired into the body itself. But the language of touch doesn't stop at self-contact. It extends to the space between you. When a woman's desire awakens, her gestures subtly shift from internal to external. Suddenly, her hands become more animated during conversations, moving in fluid, expressive patterns as if painting the emotions she can't quite say aloud. If she's seated near you, her fingers might graze the edge of the table or the armrest closest to you, unconsciously reaching toward your presence without realizing it. Watch her wrists, her fingertips, her palms. The smallest movements can hold the loudest meanings. And here's the fascinating part. She doesn't even need to touch you directly for the message to be clear. Psychology calls this proximal signaling. Her body intuitively reduces the physical space between you while her gestures create an unspoken invitation. She might lean in just slightly when she laughs, or let her fingertips hover near yours during casual moments. None of this is forced. It's instinct, written deep into her nervous system, activated by chemistry, emotion, and raw human connection. The most powerful part of this hidden language is that it exists beneath awareness. Hers and yours. She isn't planning these movements. She isn't consciously deciding, I'm going to play with my necklace to send a message. Her brain is processing attraction on a primal level, and her body follows without thought. Similarly, your own subconscious picks up on these signals, even if you don't recognize them in real time. That's why some moments with certain people feel electric. Like the energy between you has thickened, like something unspoken is happening in the silence. It's your mirror neurons, the part of your brain designed to detect and reflect emotional states, responding to her shifts. You feel drawn in, tuned in, pulled into the gravity of her energy, without knowing why. But once you understand this language, you start to see what others don't. You begin noticing how a soft graze along her wrist, the playful twist of her ring, or the absent-minded tracing of her collarbone can speak louder than an entire conversation. It's the silent poetry of human behavior, the kind of communication that bypasses words and connects directly to something deeper, something primal. There's something mesmerizing about the human voice, something so subtle, yet so powerful, that most people never realize what's happening until they feel it pulling them in. When a woman's body hungers for intimacy, her voice becomes one of the first giveaways. You might not notice it at first because the shift is delicate, almost imperceptible. But if you listen closely, you'll feel it. The way her words flow differently, the way her tone softens and deepens at the same time, the way her sentences stretch just a little longer. This isn't something she plans, it's a natural, involuntary response to rising attraction and desire. The biology behind it is fascinating. As hormonal changes heighten her sensitivity and deepen her emotional state, the tiny muscles in her vocal cords relax, giving her voice a richer, smoother, almost magnetic texture. That subtle drop in pitch, that softness in tone, isn't coincidence. It's nature's way of signaling closeness, creating an invisible current of connection long before her words ever reveal what she's feeling inside. Science has proven that vocal changes are one of the most primal signals of attraction. Research in human psychology shows that when intimacy begins occupying her subconscious, her brain triggers shifts designed to draw you in without her realizing it. Her sentences become slower, her choice of words more intentional, and her voice carries a warmth that feels deeply personal. It's an ancient form of nonverbal communication, the voice acting as an emotional bridge between two people. Sometimes it's not even the words that captivate you, it's the way they're delivered. A casual statement suddenly sounds layered with meaning. A single laugh carries a softness that wasn't there before, and even silence feels charged because of the tone she leaves lingering in the air. You can hear the vulnerability in her voice, the openness, the slight tremble that comes when desire mixes with anticipation. It's not just about sound. It's about what's happening beneath the sound, where biology and emotion collide to create something that resonates on a frequency deeper than logic. But the shift isn't just in how she speaks. It's also in what she says and, more importantly, what she avoids saying. As desire builds, her conversations start carrying an undertone, a rhythm that draws you in without you realizing why. She begins asking more personal questions, leaning into curiosity, steering discussions toward connection rather than small talk. Her pauses become more deliberate, allowing silence to hold weight rather than filling it with noise. And when she does speak, there's a subtle drop in her volume, as though her words are meant only for you. This lowering of the voice, this slight hush, is nature's way of creating intimacy in the simplest, most powerful way possible. It forces you to lean in, to listen closer, to get pulled into her emotional space without even noticing. And yet, there's also an element of restraint. Sometimes she hesitates before finishing a thought, not out of shyness, but because her body is processing emotions faster than her mind can translate them. That tension, that mix of openness and restraint, is exactly what makes her presence so intoxicating in that moment. Here's where most people completely miss the depth of what's happening. They focus on what is being said instead of how it's being said. The truth is, tone reveals truths the mind hasn't yet accepted. A single shift in inflection can carry 1,000 unspoken thoughts. The soft emphasis on a certain word, the gentle lowering of her pitch, the breath at the end of a sentence. These are not random quirks. They're signals, carefully wired by evolution to indicate emotional closeness, interest, and desire. Your brain is naturally tuned to detect these patterns through something called emotional contagion. Your nervous system syncs to the emotional state, hidden within her tone, even before your conscious mind understands why you feel pulled toward her. That's why, when her voice changes, the entire energy between you shifts. Her tone invites you closer without saying it outright. And when you understand this, when you can hear the subtle invitations hidden in her voice, you'll begin to realize just how much people communicate without ever putting it into words. There's a reason people say, the eyes never lie. Long before a woman speaks, long before her actions catch up with her emotions, her eyes begin revealing the story her words cannot. When desire stirs inside her, when intimacy begins to awaken in her body, there's a change in the way she looks at you. Subtle, soft, but undeniably powerful. It's not just about holding eye contact, it's about how she holds it. Her gaze lingers a fraction longer than necessary, carrying an unspoken depth you can feel more than you can explain. In that quiet moment, her pupils dilate, her lashes flutter ever so slightly, and her entire expression softens while her focus sharpens. Science tells us this happens because attraction triggers a release of dopamine and oxytocin in the brain, and expanding her pupils and heightening her emotional intensity. But to the human heart, it feels like something far deeper. As though her eyes are pulling you into a private, unspoken conversation where her desires are laid bare without a single word exchanged. This transformation in her gaze is rarely conscious, and she's not calculating or strategizing. Her eyes are simply reflecting what's happening inside her. That's what makes it so real, so authentic, so raw. Her gaze might drift to your lips when you speak, linger on your hands, or meet your eyes with a sudden softness that wasn't there moments ago. It's as if her body betrays her thoughts before she's ready to say them aloud. And this is where the psychology of human attraction becomes fascinating. Your subconscious mind is constantly scanning for micro signals. Pupil dilation, blink rate, lingering focus, and processing them faster than your logical brain. That's why certain looks feel different. It's why you sometimes sense a shift in someone's energy before you can put it into words. Her eyes are sending signals directly to the emotional centers of your brain, bypassing conscious reasoning entirely. You're not just seeing her, you're feeling her intention through the silent electricity of her gaze. But there's more happening beneath the surface. Something primal, something evolutionary. For thousands of years, humans have relied on nonverbal cues to build connection, trust, and intimacy. Among all those cues, the eyes hold unmatched power. When a woman's body hungers for closeness, her gaze naturally becomes more anchored, more open, more emotionally transparent. This isn't accidental, it's biology. Studies show that prolonged eye contact triggers the release of oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, deepening feelings of attachment and intensifying emotional intimacy. That's why, in those moments, silence feels charged. A single glance can carry weight, tension, and meaning far beyond anything words could convey. And it's not just the duration of her gaze that matters. It's the shifting patterns within it. Sometimes her eyes lock onto yours with quiet confidence. Other times they dart away quickly, almost nervously, only to find you again seconds later. That push and pull between holding and breaking eye contact creates a rhythm of connection that speaks directly to your instincts. Without even realizing it, her gaze is inviting you closer while testing the waters of safety, trust, and emotional resonance. If you've ever been in a crowded room and felt like time slowed down when your eyes met hers, you've experienced this phenomenon firsthand. The rest of the world fades, conversations blur into background noise, and there's a moment where only the two of you exist in that space. That's not an accident. It's a deeply embedded survival mechanism. Your brain prioritizes emotional relevance, locking onto what, or who, matters most in that moment. Her gaze acts as a signal, a tether between her inner world and yours, amplifying everything you're both feeling beneath the surface. And when desire is present, her eyes communicate a complexity that words could never hold: curiosity, vulnerability, anticipation, and a quiet urgency that makes you lean in without thinking. This is why people say, chemistry can't be faked. You can fake a smile, fake laughter, fake conversation, but you cannot fake the electricity in the eyes when intimacy begins to bloom. It's the purest, most primal form of communication the human body has to offer, and once you learn to read it, you'll see connections unfolding long before anyone dares to speak them aloud. Now you understand, these signs aren't just random behaviors. They are powerful signals, and deeply rooted in psychology and human connection. When you start noticing them, you unlock a level of understanding that most people never reach. And once you truly see what's happening beneath the surface, everything about love, attraction, and relationships changes forever. If this video helped you see things differently, don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share this video with your friends and family, because understanding these signs can completely transform the way they connect and communicate, too. The more people we help, the stronger our relationships become. And if you want to learn even more powerful secrets about attraction, desire, and female psychology, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell right now. Every week, we dive deeper into the hidden language of love and human behavior, giving you insights that most people never get to hear. So share this video, subscribe, and invite your friends and family to join this journey with you. Because understanding connection isn't just power, it's transformation.